Hi guys, this is Dan for EvECoPilot.net, and I am doing a tutorial on the D-scanner, which you'll see there on the screen. Excuse all the other junk, we're mid boring fleet, so I figured I'd do this video for you. So what is the D-scanner? Basically the D-scanner will show you any ship within 2.147 billion kilometers, which is roughly 14 AU. So what the D-scanner does is it just scans either all around the ship or in the direction that you specify, and just returns any ships that are in the specified direction. So as you can see here, I've got this. If you want to open up the scanner, you just got the button there that turns it on and off. When you open it up, the first thing you want to do is make sure that it's set to use active overview settings. The second thing you want to do is smack a load of 9s into that range, because that'll set it to its longest possible range. There are reasons to reduce the range, but that's a bit more detail than we're going to go into today. The last thing you need to pay note to is this angle. You can see it's 360, 180, 90, 60, 35. That's the angle of the scan, as in where it's going to go. You need to think of it like a cone. Okay, so if you click on your ship, you'll see the little box appear in the middle. So if you imagine that as like a little pointer, so I'm currently pointing it at whoever's talking on TeamSpeak. Shut up. Anaphylactia, that ship there. So if I set this, so what I'm now doing is pointing that at that specific ship. So you can imagine that at 30 degrees, there's going to be like a 30-degree cone around where I'm pointing. If I take that up to 60 degrees, it will be a bigger cone to where I'm pointing. And obviously at 360, it's going to scan everywhere, and at 180, it's basically going to scan everything from here to roughly about there. So if we look over at that direction and do a 360-degree scan, you'll see all the ships on scan. If we reduce that range, you see some of the ships start to disappear because they're more than 180 or 90 degrees to the right from me. You see, the further I turn, the less ships you see. So I then turn back a bit, and more ships. The more I turn, as soon as I get them into that 90-degree arc, I get all the ships on scan. So if I then put it down to, say, 15 degrees and scan, the only ship that I see is the ship there that's right in front of me. So that's how the D-scanner works. But what's it useful for? Well, for example, where we're sat at the moment, we're 12 AUs away from this Sanchez outpost, the military outpost there. So if I point my scanner in that direction and I scan with a reduced range, I can see immediately if there's any ships in that outpost. If I get one of our guys, what have we got here? Jarell, are you on? Jarell? Noonie?
Yeah.
Can you do me a favour and walk to the abandoned research project for me?
On my way.
Thank you. So at the moment, as you can see, at 30 degrees, we're not picking anything up when we point at that abandoned research. But as my ever so obedient Corpy disappears off in that direction, we should start to see his ship appear on the scanner. And as you can see now, as soon as he starts to warp over there, we can now see that there's a Brutex. So what happened? You can come back now, Noonie, if you want. So that's basically, you can use this in any direction, and this is very, very useful in PvP. So for example, if you're waiting for war targets or a war target enters your system, you can position yourself. If I go into the system view here, if you imagine that this is a Stargate, which is actually the sun, and there's another Stargate here, if you make a safe spot here, you can then use the 180-degree scan, or even the 30, and you can immediately tell which gate any given target's coming from. Also, if your war targets are running from you, or you're just jumping through low-sec, you can look at a system and you can then scan someone down. And the way you do it, oh shit, my carrier's moving. Shit. Once you get that 180-degree scan and you find the ship that you want, as you reduce the radius, you can see the Myrmidon's still on scan. Okay, so he's dropped, so as I turn, scan again, Myrmidon comes back on. And what you're doing is each time you're reducing the range. Myrmidon's back. I actually know where he is because he's sat right in front of me. But you can see if you go from 60 degrees to 30 degrees, and you see now we've got that one ship there. But if we're looking for the Thanatos, and we've got the Thanatos on 60 degrees, come here Thanatos, there you go. Now if we reduce it to 30, suddenly the Thanatos drops off, because from my square, in the way that I'm looking, is that's more than 30 degrees. So if I move this way and I scan, I still don't see it. But if I move that way, okay, now I've got the Thanatos on scan again. So at that point I can then reduce it, and this can also help with your probing as well. If you just use your D-scan, as you see, it's very quick. You just click, 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 and get, I think it's every 2 seconds you can update. And if you just get a rough location of where they are using the D-scanner, then you can launch your probes and save yourself a lot of time without having to use the big probes first. So anyway, I won't go on all day. It's a really, really simple tool. Using it basically like this is very easy. Using it effectively takes a lot of practice. Some of our really good D-scanners can jump into a system and tell us where everyone is in about 30 seconds flat. It's just a trick of the trade. But that's pretty much what it's used for. That's what it does. And I'm Puppy. I'll see you next time.